Hi, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a new episode of Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored by a great guest all the way from Bali, Indonesia. Let's welcome Chris.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Moby, for having me on. It's a great pleasure.
Thank you, sir. So, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I would say that my story is not one of hitting rock bottom and then having a life turnaround. It's more about doing the things that we're told to do that will make us happy, and then realizing that that didn't really pan out. So I'm a natural seeker, and so my journey took me through the corporate life and as a consultant to media and entertainment and user experience design. I taught in higher education for over 10 years at the UCLA Continuing Education. And somewhere along the line, I started working on myself because I realized that I bring myself to everything I do. So the better I could make myself, and the better the experience was for myself and for others around me. And so that really became the glue for people wanting to work with me. And
Mhm.
then that ultimately translated into writing a book and starting to get into really mindful living.
Well, I love that term, and we'll talk a little bit, explore more of that. So, tell me why mindful eating, or not eating, but living. Why not just living at your heart, by your heart, or whatever you feel like, whatever you desire? What's the
Well, that's a
difference?
great, yeah, that's a great question. And actually, mindful eating is one of the biggest challenges because we're always in a rush. And so you point out something that's really smart, actually. We're not really living from the mind when we're being mindful. We are
Mm,
living from the heart space and living by
that's
our
right.
intuition and our inner voice and our, internal guidance that's in all of us. We always have that voice telling us something resonates and something doesn't.
Mm,
Unfortunately, we're conditioned to really be in a reactive state and always looking to judge things and analyze things, and so we're really in our heads, and so coming out of that to really feel your inner truth, which is a very different type of truth than kind of the comparison, constant mental validation truth. And living by that inner voice and inner wisdom is really what mindful living is all about.
very nice, very nice. And I think for people to realize that we don't mean to say that you put everything, microanalysis of everything you do, every action you do. All we are saying is set some kind of boundary, some kind of discipline. Just remain in that, right? At your
Yeah.
living with.
Yeah, exactly. It's not really to be mindful. You don't have to sell all your belongings and move to an island, although
Yeah,
you
I know.
can do that. But ultimately, it's really experiencing the things that you're doing. Really be engaged fully, as opposed to labeling and judging and constantly letting this monkey mind pull us out of the present moment. And then we're in the past, then we're in the future, then we try to project and literally predict outcomes, and it just that's not how life works. And so really letting life unfold and participating in the unfolding is what mindful living is all about.
And that's so true. People don't realize that, everybody has their right now some kind of schedule. And we're not saying that, you know, so all you have to do is have clear direction where you are going.
Yeah.
Then a lot of people are going, but they think that body will automatically, that's where they don't realize they are going in wrong direction. So so all we have to do is correct the direction, that's all. And I tell them, don't worry about, nobody's counting that you'll take 6 months, 9 year or 9 months or whatever. uh, it will, time is not that key. It is the slow steady progress which is the key here. And I think a lot of people kind of, they are into this, uh, you know get everything done in 3 months, 2 months, whatever weight loss, whatever changes they want, and done. you know and I think that's what is actually not helping a lot of people. What do you think?
Yeah, that's exactly. It's always rushing to the next moment and never really being present with what you're doing. And so
Mhm.
time becomes this torment. We get addicted and our to-do lists, and always looking to the next unknown moment. And like you say, the mind is a great planning tool for organizational matters, for skill development, for memory. I mean, it has its purpose, but applying it as a tool to what you're working on, as opposed to letting it dictate, it doesn't know you. It operates on knowing things. So it's really freaked out by the unknown, which is the future, which is your life path. So you working and living through the mind is what creates a lot of that misery and that stress and that pressure of trying to get to this point where we're finally happy, where all the pieces of life come together. And they never do, because life is always evolving, even when we achieve an outcome. And we should celebrate and be proud of things we achieve, but it's a temporary happiness. It will pass as well. And then the task is to allow it to pass, and really just be present with the experience of it all.
Okay, great, great. So tell me a little bit about your book. You said you had book, right?
Yes, I've got a book. It's got it right
Great.
here.
Be you. Wow. I think I love it, because I think I was with someone and they asked, "Oh, tell me what is the most important thing?" And I don't know why I said you. They said, "No, no, it's you." And I think when you said "be you," I think it just reminded me. Oh, yes, be you, right?
Yes, exactly. You should be yourself. We're all, we have a special blueprint inside of us. Every single person, of a purpose that we're here for. And a lot of people they think it's selfish or self-absorbed, and they feel guilt focusing on yourself. But no, we have to focus on ourselves first. The ability to which we can love ourselves is the ability to which we can love others. How well we listen to ourselves, our inner voices, how well we can listen to others. It's just, everything's a reflection of the work we've put into ourselves. And then if we want to be of service, we really have to have a functional, clean system that can lead as a guiding light or role model. As a teacher, we have to work through the things first before we can help others.
And that's true. If you are unhappy with yourself, you cannot make others happy, right?
It's as
So
simple as that. Exactly.
that's about it. Very simple. So also tell me a little bit about how do you yourself kind of motivate yourself to keep going?
Mm. Yeah. Well, so the great part is that motivation is built into life. If you're experiencing every new moment as it comes, without judging it and without labeling it, without having preconceived notions of what it should be, and then being in resistance to it because it's different. If you on the turn the corner out on this and come out of the mind and just experience what's coming and be open, beginner's mindset, be curious, then you actually see the opportunities. Then you see things that you didn't know. Knowledge is stale by definition. It's kind of dead already. You already know it. So there's no life or serendipity or discovery in knowledge itself. It's really embracing and welcoming the new moment coming in, and just being curious of what role are you to play in it, because there's always something we can contribute. And that's really how we're designed to be motivated by life.
Mhm. Also tell me a little bit about I know you do a lot of yoga.
Yeah, so I teach meditation, mindful living tips and tricks that, like I said earlier, you don't have to quit your life to start becoming more mindful. In fact, you can bring more change to the world by being a mindful parent, a more mindful partner, more mindful coworker, neighbor, sibling. All the areas where we experience tension and friction is they're being held in place in part. We takes two to tango, in part by our resistance to it, by our labeling of somebody is a certain way, or situations that we judge. And so to come out of the judging mind on our part, it starts to breathe space and spaciousness into those situations. And then as we change others as well. It's really remarkable how that happens.
Okay. Now, I saw that here you did undergrad in music. Wow.
Yes, I see the guitars in your background. So yeah,
I know. See,
I
I said I
was
have to ask him about music. Okay, now are you doing anything with music?
Well, I've music has always been a passion. I'm a music major and a recording engineer by trade, and
Mm,
had a music recording studio for a long time. I always have a home studio, and it's my go-to place for really connecting with source and being in the flow. And
mm,
even in that, part of my journey was to recognize that even when I was doing music or I was playing tennis, which is another passion of mine, that I was still living for outcomes and that the experience was missing. I was always kind of looking to get somewhere, and that really woke me up as well. And some you could be doing the most amazing things in the world if you're not present with them.
mm,
It's just not going to be fulfilling. So yeah, I've recorded 8 or 9 albums in my life, and I'm always collaborating on something. And I've done film scoring, and music is in my family. So yeah, it's a big passion of mine.
Oh, great. Yeah, yeah, I do also. I love music. I have three tracks. So, I love writing music and playing, learning. I'm still learning guitar. So, what's your favorite?
Well, my main instrument is piano, and through you can play pretty through MIDI. You can play any instrument, so I arrange for all instruments. This came naturally to me. I'm of the school of thought where the fewer rules that I know, the less learned I am about something, the more creative I am. So that's
That's
my
true.
approach. Just do it. Yeah. Mhm.
That's very nice. Okay, so tell me a little bit about yoga. Is it true that there are certain times better, or is it throughout day, or mm, what's the best way to?
Well, so I teach morning meditation and evening meditation. You want to bookend your day with a grounding practice, and it's
Mm,
ultimately it's not a separate state, right? To be practicing mindfulness and ground yourself in your body, and but it's something you need to nurture. It's an awareness muscle, and
mhm,
that is something you can then bring to the rest of your day. So it's in the beginning it might feel like a separate activity. You're sitting in a pose for 15 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is, but it starts to sink in this connection to stillness and this connection to your body, and then ultimately you start bringing that into your everyday situations.
mhm. Okay, great. So, is it true that you could do yoga like multiple sessions throughout day? Is it gonna be better than doing morning, evening?
Yeah, well, so I teach meditation and conscious movement, which is not specific to any yoga tradition, but you should find any moment you can. There is an opportunity in the morning, early morning, because our mind is at rest at night. That's essentially why we sleep, is because we've been so busy all day, and to shut down, to force shut down the mind, we nature puts us to sleep. And so then when we wake up, we have a little window there before we look at our phones, before we check email, and before our to-do list kicks in, where there's still this natural stillness. And so I highly recommend spending mornings in noble silence, meaning set a time, push it out as far as you can, 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock if you can, where you just stay in silence. And so just reinforce that spaciousness, and knowledge and wisdom and curiosity and magic, all of that arises within their connection to self. um, and then in the evening you've had a long day where with a lot of situations and reactivity, you also want to spend some time journaling. You want to spend some time sitting with yourself or reading a book, uh, putting your feet in the grass or something. It doesn't always have to be meditation or yoga or something quote unquote traditional practice. But mornings and evenings are most important. But then there's little opportunities throughout the day. Every time before an important call or a meeting or some significant moment where you need to be focused, spend 10, 20 seconds just focusing on your breath, grounding yourself, scanning your body for sensations. All of this is calming. All of this is focusing. All of this is getting out of the head, and trusting the wisdom of your body.
Mm. Yeah, and I think you put a great topic here. With meditation, and there is, when you relax. Actually, I think I was trying to find the correct name for it, But I think there are brain waves, of course, with um, which is alpha rhythm awake, you know, and
Yes.
those are will be actually there will be a lot of creativity. Is that true? Probably, alpha rhythm. I think it's called alpha rhythm, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
and that will happen. And I know I was reading somewhere that I think Thomas, the one who did the bulb electricity, I think he used to go into this mode where he would sleep and intentionally wake himself up uh, to go into that rhythm where there's more creativity.
Yeah, and I haven't gone in that deep into tinkering with the different brainwaves and sleep phases and all that, but I can certainly relate to that. While writing the book, I was every time I felt there was a creative block, I would step away and do something to ground myself, get out of my head. Essentially, if it was me writing, trying to write, then it didn't flow. I would labor over one sentence forever. But when you're really connected and in that zone, then it's just
Mhm.
flowing through you and you're just kind of executing and realizing, oh my gosh, this is coming out of me and through me, and it's an amazing experience. We can apply that to everything.
Mhm. And that's true. That's true. And so, what has been your major message for somebody who wants to start? Let's say start with mindful living. Where should they start?
Well, I mean, there's so many resources out there. I've gone through many different phases, following different speakers and different books and philosophies, and just start seeking, and there's the internet, and so you can find things and look for what resonates. Again, listen to what. Don't force yourself into something. If it sounds too woo woo, don't go there. Go with something that is less hierarchical and traditional. There's all flavors out there. In fact, that was one of my experiences early on. I just felt like all of the language that I was reading in the mindful literature was just too strange. It was really woo woo to me. So that's why I also set out to write BU, because it takes all of that language, woo woo language out, because I just wanted the wisdom without the complicated words. So there's people you can find out there, myself included, and then just if you do find something that resonates, the one advice I have is stick with it. If you keep jumping around, just like if you go to the gym and you just work this muscle a little bit and this muscle a little bit and the next one a little bit, you'll never really get into the groove and build on something. So if you find something, stick with it for a while. If it naturally takes you elsewhere, then that's fine. But uh, just start searching, seeking. We're meant to expand. Life wants us to grow, right? That's why we're so uncomfortable from with change, because change is constant, consistent, and so we can't resist it for too long. Change is going to come.
And that is so true. And, a lot of people I tell that, they don't realize how the body is working. So our body is actually very, very organized, even to one cell. So, and it has all kind of rhythms, waking up, sleep. Even, it's very interesting, even the bacteria and all these, they have all these cycles, and when they are very active, when they're not. And then there is so much rhythm to everything. And I think people don't realize that when they change their things too fast, you actually destroy that rhythm a lot. You confuse body. And I said it's like example is very simple, like when we learn driving. So have you seen the learner permit? What do they do? They apply a lot of brakes, fast break, fast breaks. So our life is like that too. We try to do exercise too much, too little, too late. Something like. So have some kind of rhythm. No, smooth. Be gentle to your body. So I think be kind to your body. Just don't make it too hard for your body. Just right. Just take it
That's ex-
easy.
that's exactly it. Whenever there's resistance, there's something not in alignment, right? You're either pushing too hard or too
Yeah.
little too, because there needs to be flow. That rhythm is beautiful, and you can start tuning into that rhythm of life when you're when you're still, you're observing, and you're connected to yourself, and there's this bigger rhythm and beat, the heartbeat of life. That's a beautiful analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like, you and me, we both love music, and I think the biggest inspiration, we both know that music is the nature, right? We listen to the sound outside and say, "Oh my God, this is so beautiful," right? There's that natural sound. And I say, "Well, that is creativity. Just look outside. Just look outside. There's so much beauty outside, and just feel the power, feel that energy. You will find it when you look at." Just calm, no other sound but the sound of the nature, and just look at it, right? Just look at it, appreciate the beauty,
Yeah.
and then that's all you have to do. Just connect with so many rhythms around us. And I think it's sad that people just close all their senses. I mean, that's why we have so many senses, you know, five senses, yeah, right? You can smell, you can taste, you can hear, you can see. Oh, every sense is different, but open any of them, every all of them, you are luckiest. But
Yeah.
any of them, right?
Yeah, that's if actually one of the meditations I teach is sensory awareness, is to really see the things that we're seeing without labeling them, without defining things, just experience the seeing, and then experience the sounds and the hearing, the taste and the smells and the touch, and then even your awareness of your body in space. That's also a sense. So there's so many things we can do, and we that is a connection to source and creativity, and just like you described, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and it's very interesting with, I think, smell. I think people now know more because of COVID. Thanks to COVID, people lost their smell, and then they knew, oh my God, this was one of the senses, right?
Mhm.
We took it for granted. Smell is like nothing, right? But it is everything too. If you lose it, you know what it is. So yeah, that is so true. Any final thoughts before we say? I wish we could talk forever, but I know we have to say. Any final.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say, there really is no right or wrong. Anything that happens is always a reflection of who we are and where we are in life at that moment, the station we are at, and
Mhm.
um, and everything contains a lesson. And the
Yeah.
less resistance we have, and the more open we are to seeing the lesson, the more we actually grow. And otherwise, that lesson is going to find us again.
Yeah.
So we want to grow and learn and expand. That's our nature, and try to be as in little resistance as possible, and not getting down on ourselves or blaming ourselves. There is no right or wrong. Everything's happening exactly as it should.
And that's perfectly said. And just for example, I think when America was discovered, they went off the course, right? So if you go off the course, you discover America. So,
That's
so
beautiful.
don't worry about if you go off the course, but go somewhere. Okay, don't be lost. Never be
Exactly.
lost. That's the
Ex-
message. Okay, well, thank you
Exactly.
for your meeting. Take care. Take care.